All right, now pleased to bring on none other than Big West Commissioner Dan Butterly. And we got a big announcement, Dan. We got a big announcement here. The Field of 68 partnering with the Big West for a basketball preview on October 15th on the Field of 68, YouTube, X. You can find it everywhere. And we're going to do both the men's and the women's, Dan. I know I'm excited to work with you guys and you and your coaches. And the coolest part, I'm not going to lie here. All right. Like the coolest part of all this for me is I'm doing the men's with Richie Schuler. That's cool. Look, I love Richie to death. I do. It's an honor for me to be able to do this with Richie. And then the women's comes after the men's. Well, you get a chance to, me and you're going to talk a little bit more in depth after the men's, and I'm going to hit you with some good questions. Trust me, I'm going to do some research here. But then the women's comes along, and it's going to be my daughter, Talia Goodman, hosting with Tammy Blackburn. And you specifically requested Talia hosting the show, and that means a ton to me. But let's get to, first of all, why. The why. For us, the why is we cover all of college basketball, and we are really pleased to work with you guys and be able to do this and be able to take care of the Big West fans and really provide them with some information in the preseason. What's the big why for you guys?
Well, we want to be bold and innovative, Jeff, in many ways. And obviously, this is being very bold and very innovative, using technology to get the word out nationwide, not just within the Big West footprint or institutions, but nationwide and globally to talk Big West basketball. We're not just a conference in the West. We're very much a global conference when it comes to our student athletes, our coaches, in many ways. So excited to be on the Field of 68, to do this as part of our media festivities, to really preview our institutions. And you are right. I did request the young superstar who's coming up in the women's basketball world, in Talia Goodman. So excited to have the five of you all previewing Big West basketball here October 15th.
Yeah, Rob Doster is going to do all the interviews, men's and women's, of the all first team Big West. So that'll be interesting too. And it's going to be, when you want to see the preseason poll, you're going to get it here first. You're going to get, again, the all-league team. You're going to get the interview with yourself. Every single coach will be featured as well. And we like to have, listen, we provide the insight and the information, Dan, but you know me well enough. We have some fun too. And all those coaches better be a little bit prepared as well as yourself, because I could dig some skeletons out of that closet, Dan, and I know you got a few.
Well, that's it, Jeff. It's like basketball. They talk about being in a defensive stance. You never know which way, the player is going to go. Now you got to worry about which question you're going to be asked. Is it one that's on your team, on your players, on the schedule, the season ahead in the Big West, or is it going to be something that's personal that could get you to do the Jerry Maguire moment where you cry at the end? Don't get me to cry, Jeff. Don't get me to cry. So really excited to see where this goes live on Field of 68.
No, it's going to be a blast. And again, I mean, we're going to go men's 12 to 3 Pacific time, then the interview with you and I, and then followed by the women's, again, hosted by Talia and Tammy, from 3 to 6. And I think one of the really interesting things about college basketball overall, and obviously with the Big West, is how wide open this thing is going to be this year. It's a final year of the COVID year.
Yeah.
So I do think that plays a huge part in this. And then you throw in, the transfers and the portal and the number being higher than it ever was a year ago. You feel the same way that this thing, I know, obviously last year was crazy. Your conference tournament was as wild as any in the entire country, with the outgoing Dan Munson leading Long Beach State to the title in the NCAA tournament bid. And obviously Santa Barbara and Irvine have had some success over the last few years. Cal State Fullerton winning it a couple times. We know how good that program is. But I just feel like now more than ever, this thing is wide open.
Absolutely. And I mean, you could probably hear some saws in the background, Jeff. We are building Big West basketball, better than ever. We're doing a lot of innovative things. We've got a lot of new coaches and student athletes in the program. As you indicated, the COVID year, this is the last of the 5-year COVID time period. And I think one of the things we've got in the Big West that I don't want to say is unique, but I think we're better than some conferences out there and institutions. We have amazing coaches, some very young coaches, some with great experience that are going to provide these student athletes an outstanding experience. But we also have tremendous academic institutions. I often refer to as the public Ivy League in many ways, because the 5 of our schools, 6 of our schools rank in the top 20 in the country. So when you talk about transfers wanting to come in and get a degree from our Big West institutions, as well as play a high level of basketball, the Big West is where it's at. So again, we've got some really good things to discuss and preview here on October 15th.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to your 2 new head coaches. I've known Chris Acker for a long time, and obviously what he did for that San Diego State program, incredible. The new Long Beach State head coach. I'm not going to lie, I don't know Mike DeGeorge as well. Came from Colorado Mesa, now the head coach at Cal Poly, but I'm really, really intrigued to kind of get to know him more. And we've seen so many coaches succeed lately. Josh Schertz coming from Lincoln Memorial, doing a great job in Indiana State. So a lot of these guys that maybe aren't in the D1 ranks that I don't know as well, that you probably don't know as well, and fans certainly don't, those guys can really, really coach. And when they get the opportunity, you can kind of see that where, they've got certain systems and styles that they've implemented that have worked, or some are just so adaptable that they can, basically whoever they have personnel wise, they can adapt to those players. So I can't wait. Give me a little bit of so far what you think of those guys. Acker again is a superstar.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember sitting next to Chris Acker at a Mountain West basketball coaches meeting, and then just a couple weeks later, he goes to San Diego State. Now we have the privilege of having him in the Big West. But I look at the Big West very much as a challenger brand, Jeff, in so many ways. We're willing to take on a challenge, play top teams, do what we can do to compete. And I like these new coaches coming in the league. As you talked about, Mike DeGeorge coming in from the Division II ranks. That's a coach that had to do things with very little resources, with very little opportunity other than to go out and compete for national championships in the Division II level. And he did so in many ways. So to have him come to Cal Poly is an exciting change up at the Cal Poly program, and see what he can do and turn that program around on the men's basketball side. Chris Acker, obviously coming from the Leon Rice, Brian Dutcher realm, both highly successful head coaches. And now he gets his shot at Long Beach State in an unbelievably great program. Dan Munson left that program coming off an NCAA tournament bid and a Big West championship. So again, as you talk about coaches that are ready to step up to a challenge, those are 2 coaches right there, along with the coaches that we've got on the women's side coming in as well, that I'm really excited to see what we can do this coming year.
All right, well, listen, there you have it. October 15th, Big West basketball preview, men's, women's. Make sure you join us. Trust me, it will not be boring. So, and if anything, make sure you tune in about halfway through, because again, if there's one interview I'm looking forward to more than any, it is of the commish. So again, make sure you join us.
Yeah, we'll be talking about everything. I mean, it's going to have to limit the time period from the Men's Basketball Oversight Committee to NCAA championships down the list. Jeff, there's going to be a lot that we could talk about in the scope, but obviously we got to talk Big West basketball as well. So looking forward to that conversation, and looking forward to seeing the young star Talia Goodman get up and running and really preview Big West women's basketball.
The better of the Goodmans. No doubt about it. I'm the first one to admit that. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. And we'll see you October 15th.
Sounds great, Jeff. Looking forward to it.